Where to start with this one? I think I'd mentioned this before, but I'm going to really mention it again, and I really want you to hear me. So, Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, open my ears, which means I'll open your ears, but open my ears so that I can hear the truth, and my mouth so, the truth can come out of here, and that we're all joining in this one mind together. There's no separate beings. There's just one mind. So I can't remember, I have no idea when I said this, but what mind training is. See, we're born into bodies, and we were given sensors in these bodies: eyes, nose, mouth, ears, if you believe in the intuitive, their bodies, touch. Those are the senses. So everything in our world is taken in through the perceptual world. If we can't feel it or hear it or see it or speak it, we're probably dead in the dream of death's terminology. So we learned how to interpret everything through this perceptual world. What we're attempting to do with mind training, what we are doing with mind training, is to move to the one Christ mind. So there's no perception in the one Christ mind. And that's what, if you're here and want to do the mind training, the clearing will get you to just living in the one mind of truth. And there's no unhappiness, there's no sadness, it's only bliss. It's bliss. But as long as we continue to take in our worlds through our perceptions, through our senses, because remember, and I don't know how, I think it's the most often, I am not a body. Remember that one? And of course, I am not a body, I'm not a body. Well, all the sense organs are in the body. I am not my sense organs. Nope. That's me looking through what we call ego. But the reality is it's through we have programming, self-programmed our mind to see things through perception. And what the mind training is doing is switching, because it's kind of like the opposite side of that perceptual coin. Flip it, and all we have is the one loving mind of God. So we're either in perception or in our loving mind of God. There's no other places to be. And what makes that shift is we're believing a lie. And then we go back to senses. We're taking it all in through perception. And we'll talk about the lie in a second. Or I'm not believing the lie. And that puts me in the one mind of loving love. So I'm trying to get this real simplified. So all there is to learn is how to make, lots of God, master switch is a term that many have used. It's a switch that once we see and we're in our perceptual mind, flip the switch and go into the loving mind of God. Now, when you're starting this, but I don't see most of you as just starting this. I see you guys as having been working with the mind for a while. And so I think you can even receive what I'm saying here. If you can observe your thinking. And if the thoughts are telling you it's cold, it's night, it's rainy, I'm not feeling well, any of those little thoughts, do the mind training, because you're in the egoic world of perception. And that's not where I want to take you. I'll speak for myself. That's not where I want to go. And so if I can get really clear with these perceptual triggers, then I can flip my master switch and go, oh, no, bad neighborhood, don't go there. And again, I'm not saying it's easy, because, as soon as we were born, they're slapping on us on our butts, our apparent butts. We're in the world of perception. Hungry, wet, mom and dad, God. Okay, that's perceptual world. So what we're unwinding is a way that we came into this world. But here's the deal. It's the way that we are. But we forgot, as soon as they slapped us on our butt and moved into the perceptual world, we forgot the truth of who we are. We don't have to learn how to be perfect. We are perfect. So to keep this mind training as simple and as pain-free as possible, as soon as you see yourself having feelings or thoughts like, oh, I'm so busy, it could be anything. As soon as you see yourself doing that, give yourself a spiritual slap in the face. Really. And that's to remind yourself, oh, no, I forgot I'm perfect. One of the things I got recently, which was a great lesson, I was telling someone about Nondual Devotional, and they were doing this week long, and it was 8 hours a day, whatever. And the response was, and I can relate to it, so I know everyone can relate to it. The response was, oh no, I've got this appointment and I've got this appointment and I'm leaving town and I'm taking a trip and I've got to call my mother, whatever. And I was listening to it. Now, one of the things that happened in the first 30-day devotional I wasn't planning on it, but it came up, is to celebrate. And I'm saying this to myself, so it's even hard to talk about. Celebrate my awakening, which means I'm celebrating your awakening, your awakened state. You're not even awakening. You're an awakened being. You're an awakened mind. Now, when I took this one on, there was some filter that was removed. And my speaking is even more direct than it ever was, and it frightened me. I must say it did frighten me. So when this person was saying, well, I can't do it, blah, 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 blah. My next comment, and it's interesting because, again, this is a lesson I set down for myself to learn, is I wanted to experience being Jesus. So when I was getting all these comments and this filter is off my sharing completely, much to my chagrin, but it's actually showing me lessons I would learn. I said, this is like the disciples coming up to Jesus when he's saying, get rid of everything and follow me. And they're going, I've got a doctor's appointment at 5 o'clock, so maybe I can meet you tomorrow morning. And I said this. And the response was not happy. It was quite dramatic, actually. And there was a lot of projection going on, and then it was bouncing back, and I was denying the projection, going, oh, fuck, why did I have to say that? That's what was immediately, why did I say that? And then I immediately jumped in, well, it's a lesson I'm learning here. And what it was, and I sat with it, I went down for a couple of days in deep prayer with it. And what I got was, it was my resistance to stepping into Jesus's sandals. And that's exactly what I said I wanted to do. And it's, the term that keeps popping up a lot is, if you meet Buddha on the road, kill him. And how many Buddhas have I met on the road and I've killed them? Because they weren't being the way I wanted them to be. And that's murderous. I mean, I love Andrew. They use anything that's not loving is a murderous thought. Really sit with that one, folks. I mean, this is, they don't soft pedal this stuff. And I appreciate that. It's my nature definitely appreciates it. Because yeah, I'm killing people off with any thought that is not loving. I mean, during the 30 days that I went through, oh my God. We have a silent day here at Namaste on Wednesdays. And this would always happen. I'd go down into the common area and people were talking. And this is what I did. I just go to them. Guess what? I was murdering them. I might as well have been kicking fucking Jesus. Just with, this is very judgmental. And I got it. And I went down with that, really sitting with it. So now I'm just sitting with, I have resistance to stepping into Jesus's sandals. And believe me, getting out of hospice, I really, really went down deep with how much I hated God. Hated God. Hated God. I had a lot of stuff that, I mean, I can still think of some of the beliefs. It's like, I'm a fairly nice person. Why did I get cancer? Let alone terminal cancer, to be put in hospice. It's like, Jesus, what the hell is going on here? And the reality is, God has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the perceptual world. Nothing. God has no perception. God has no senses. God is. And guess what? We are God. But as soon as they hit us on our butt, we forgot that. And then we start living our lives through the perceptual. And since we made up a perceptual world and we put perceptual beings in the perceptual world, we get a lot of support for staying in this perceptual thinking. Now, changing it to the one mind of love that does not use any senses. None. It's way beyond sensation. It's into experience. And this is where bliss lives. No exceptions. This is where grace lives. No exception. This is where peace lives. no exception. And so that's the mind training. And I say this because I really want us to get this and really have an ongoing experience of bliss and grace and joy for no apparent reason. So I'm going back to the one lie. I'm sorry, I'm jumping back now. No, I'm not. I'm staying in the same place. The one lie that I'm believing some untruth. I'm believing an untruth. That's the only lie. That's the only thing that ever needs to be corrected. And this lie shows up about, and it comes through perception. There's a lot of traffic. It's busy. There's a lot of noise. You know, it comes in so many thousands and millions of different ways. So as soon as we feel anything other than bliss and grace, we've got to address the lie. Because it's not like we need to learn anything. You guys don't need to learn a thing. But we need to quit lying to ourselves. And this will show up. This is a people pleaser. Okay, everything feels pretty real, and it's okay. I can deal with it. I can deal with it. That's the people pleaser. Doesn't seem like a big lie, because God only knows I've done it a lot. I can put up with this. That's no problem. I'm in perception land judging it. And that's called people pleasing. Because I don't want to say anything because it may rock the boat. And I don't like rocking boats. That's why this was very disturbing, because it just came out of my mouth about Jesus. And I thought, shouldn't have said that. How many times have I thought that about myself? I should not have said that. That's people pleasing. That's the lie. Okay. So that's one lie. The other lie, there's actually three, but there's only two in perception land. Okay. I am either being harsh and judgmental with myself, either directly making this form wrong, or through projection, making you wrong. So we're either people pleasing or we're judging. And people pleasing is a really nice, icky way of saying I'm not judging, but it's really icky. And I say it's almost more difficult to deal with than overt a judgment. So those are the two ways of thinking in perception land. Now, the third option flips the coin of perception thinking to thinking only through the truth of who you are. And this is making your priority the devotion of truth, devotion to truth in this moment, right now, instantaneously, all the time. And this means you have to stay really conscious, which most of us didn't learn how to do that. And staying really conscious is going, oh, it's getting a little chilly. Whoops, I'm in perception land. Flip it. Flip it. I am devoted to the truth right now in this moment, in this instant. And with that, there may be some looking at why am I committed to seeing cold? What's that all about? I'm perfect. There is no temperature in perfect. There is no busy in perfect. There's no time and space in perfect. And time and space only lives in perception. So it is this really deep training that I'm sharing with you guys. It's like, really, the state of happiness can only be found in this moment of now. And it's by me staying very conscious and honest with myself about how I'm feeling right now. And actually any feeling, because there is no feeling in the one mind of the loving God. You don't even feel love. You just feel, I call it grace and bliss at this point, because it doesn't have a definition. It's just an experience of, wow. It's a drug. And the more you live in that state, the more you want it. And the 12-step program that we need is to recognize when we're not there and being honest with ourselves. You know, how many times after the diagnosis of cancer, I really got how depressed I was prior to the diagnosis. Massively depressed. But I just thought it's fine because I'm not really feeling anything. Well, okay, that's fine. But are you peaceful and feeling like you're perfect? Absolutely not. And it really is. And then just sitting and listening to guidance. And the more stuff you start clearing away, the more judgments you start getting clear on and owning completely, the thoughts start disappearing from your mind. And so this state of grace doesn't even include thinking. And, I remember when I first started meditating, it was a long time ago, but oh my God, I couldn't sit still for 2 minutes. It was like, through my mind would look like, well, don't forget to go shopping and feed the dog and blah, 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 blah. And it was ongoing. And so it was painful to sit in silence for 2 minutes. I really couldn't do it. But as you practice, and then all of a sudden you're meditating for an hour and it feels like 2 minutes. Because there's not all these thoughts running around, these perceptual thoughts that keep us taking us out of our perfection. Makes sense? Sort of, maybe not. Okay. Keep going. I guess that's what I want to say. Practice, practice, practice. Don't give up. And practice massively throughout your day. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you've got 12 people making demands on you. You watch your mind. You watch your mind. You watch what you're thinking. And believe me, you can do a lot of things while still watching your mind. I guarantee you can, because I do it all the time. This is not about doing or not doing. This is about watching your thoughts and catching them immediately. Oop, don't let that one jump by. What the hell is that all about? I just wanted to make her wrong for wearing a green sweater. It's like, you'll find just the funniest shit that goes through. But if you're not judging yourself overtly, you're projecting thoughts on someone else, or you're just saying, I'm fine. I used to say that all the time. Fine, fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. That's people pleasing. I'm fine. I'm fine. I can put up with this. I'm fine. Dangerous. It'll kill you. I guarantee. So with that, we're going to say goodbye to our YouTube friends. Goodbye, YouTube friends. I'm going to stop the recording. Let's see anything. Stop.